the Lake Highlands Boneyard podcast, episode 2. We're here with Coach Jordan, coming off a 27-17 win over Flower Mound. And I tell you, I have a couple of takeaways on that one. I thought that the players did a tremendous job. There were probably more penalties than you would want as a coach, and not to bring up a negative right out of the bat here, but by the way, Lonnie, I would say, or Coach Jordan, I should say, on the podcast, the feedback has been immense, and a lot of folks passing this around and enjoying it. Mostly your work, of course, but man, this has been this is a lot of fun, and we'll just jump right into this. The penalties, both teams combined for like 21 penalties in this game. The positive, at least that I took away from this, is that guys just kept overcoming it. I mean, there were runs. I think I texted you about one. I think you would probably prefer some of these texts wouldn't always come in, especially the time of nights they do. Deontay Dean had a run around the right side. Maybe that was the third quarter, and I mean, it was spectacular to watch. And of course, that thing came right back, gets wiped out. I bet that was about a 15-yard run, but it was honestly one of the most impressive runs of the night. But instead of getting down, really seemed like your guys kept bouncing back and overcoming that. Yeah,
and just talking about penalties, I mean, it is early in the season. We've only played 2 football games. We talked last week, I think, for quite a while about just how young our team is, and so we're still, and we were better this week as a football team. We were better, but the penalties are one of those things that as you're young and figuring out the speed of the game and playing better opponents, those things happen. And so what we look at is are these effort penalties, or are these, is this something where I'm just giving extra effort and really, hustling and trying to make a play and this happens, or is this a penalty that's a mental mistake, like a false start, or an illegal procedure, something that was a mental mistake on my part that caused us to move backwards. The holding, we will shore that up, and that's one of the things that to some extent. It's a lack of effort. I'm not using my feet the way I need to. I'm not taking the angle that I need to, and so we need to work on those things. But penalties early is kind of part of it. I think if you go look at a senior-laden team that has played a lot of varsity football, they'll have fewer penalties, and so that's not us right now. But man, so many positive things to take away from the game from an effort standpoint, and I mean, our kids, they competed. It was really fun to watch them. Never give up. So Deontay Dean has a great run, and it gets taken off the board, and that's hard for coaches. It's hard for our players on offense, because a lot of people, we probably had 10 guys on that play did really good things, and I had one guy do something bad, and it brings it back. And we take that information, we look at it, on Saturday, and we had 24 yards of offense, which is not our best output, but you give credit to Flower Mound and the job that they did. But when you look at the fact that we had 100 yards in penalties, now some of those are defensive penalties, but nevertheless, you take 100 yards of offense off of the field, and now you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball a little bit, trying to win football games. So our job is to clean those up, and we will clean those up. We'll get better as the year goes on. But the big takeaway is our kids, man, they played hard and they fought right till the end. And you could tell that at every point in that game, they felt like, we can win this, we can do this. And so that's a lot of confidence for the coaching staff.
Yeah, in the media, we try to be like, look at facial expressions or how people are reacting to things and have takeaways on this. And I was even watching running off at halftime. I mean, there was an excitement. It was kind of like, this is what we have been working for, and we're ready, and I bet they were ready to get back out. And I'm sure that kind of translates also to the coaching staff. One of the themes was ball control last week, and possessing the ball and really valuing it. you spend even extra time, and you already spend a lot of time with it. But turnover margin is always big, and you have a +3 turnover margin. You only turn it over once. How pleased were you to kind of see that aspect and see the work kind of pay off in that area?
Well, it was good, and again we talked about that last week as well. You know, we that first ball game we have 5 turnovers. Now, fortunately, we forced 5 turnovers, and so the turnover margin was 0, which allowed us to be able to win that football game. But you know, a lot of opportunities missed in week 1 because of our inability to hold on to the ball or make good decisions with the ball. And so, you know, Monday, we made sure the kids, again, you know, it was going to be a point of emphasis for the entire week. And we knew that this is not something that's going to plague us. It's something that happened, and we were fortunate to get through it. Anyway, so, you know, we worked ball security. The kids knew it was a point of emphasis, and you know, you go out there and they did a great job. We had the 1 fumble, and you know, those things are going to happen. I mean, you pulled the ball down. It was either a linebacker or a safety, I can't remember, put his hat right on the ball, and it popped out. And those things, you know, it means they're going to happen. And so one turnover, you know, we can get by and still coach a football game and still win with that. And so we were proud of them. And you go back on film and you watch them, and they're keeping it high and tight, and they're protecting it in traffic. They're getting the second hand on the ball, so they understand. And I don't expect for you know, for us to see any more games where we have high turnovers like that. You know, barring some kind of outside influence with weather or whatnot. But and then the defense, you know, so 2 weeks in a row, and I hope we can continue this. But we had 5. You know, we forced 5 turnovers in week 1, and then week 2, we forced, I think we had 4. So 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery Friday night against Flower Mound, and without those, you know, the game turns out differently. So you know, not to go back, but and every week may be this way, but just so proud of our defense and the job they're doing.
You know, on that front, you had a couple things in that Poteet game. You know, one of those was a really rough call that didn't go your way, but they completed some deep balls. And this offense, Flower Mound, well, this was high tempo. This can wear down a defense. Y'all are having to sub out. You got to be on top of your communication. They stress you out in a lot of ways. Your safeties, and boy, especially your cornerbacks in this game, technique-wise and everything, really seem to be on point from what I could tell.
Yeah, and it goes back to having a veteran group back there. You know, we have the ability to mix things up, change things up, play different coverages. And we talked about that a little bit last week as well. We can make that adjustment at the line, and our kids, you know, they can make that adjustment on the fly. And so it is, you know, it's. I mean, the benefit to us is we're getting interceptions. I mean, we have kids, you know, kind of coming out of nowhere as far as these quarterbacks are concerned, and so that's been good. But so proud of Myron McGee had an interception against Flower Mound. Chung Lien, one of our captains, he had an interception, jumped in front of that bubble over there and picked that thing off, and it was man, a lot of fun. Shalom Peter, who is you know, linebacker and is moving around. It seems like he's everywhere at once. Well, you know, he had an interception and a fumble recovery against Flower Mound. So yeah, just, you know, proud of the leadership, proud of the confidence that those kids are playing with, and the offense can feed off of that.
Yeah, and well, Shalom, I was worried because you had said that Shalom, there was going to be like a TV crew or somebody maybe doing a special story on him. You know, I didn't want that to go to his head, but he came back with another excellent game. And as you said, there's some instinctive nature that he has. The interception was very impressive. And then I was watching, you know, on a quick offense like that, where they're getting it up there, a lot of times the ball's coming out so fast, you don't always have quite as many pressure opportunities. But in this game, your guys were getting back there so quickly, it was impacting the quarterback, and he was one of the guys, you know, back there. And boy, the refs were having, by the way, to you're getting there so quickly, they weren't even giving the guys a chance to throw the quarterback down. Some of those they just had his progress stopped.
Well, our defensive front and our linebacker core, they really do run well. We're not as big as we have been in the past. We don't have the, as far as just, controlling the line of scrimmage, it looks a little different for us this year. But when we start moving those kids around that have really fast twitch, those fast twitch muscle fibers, that they can, they can shake things up just like you saw. On Friday, you've got Jalen Caton, who's playing on both sides of the ball. He is long and we've got great hands, but his first step is incredible. He gets off the ball fast. You've got Andre Johnson, and Andre can run, with anybody on the offense sideline to sideline. So, those two guys as our defensive ends have been, it's kind of an equalizer against some of these passing teams. And then, we've got Christian Tate there at nose guard, and Christian's been doing such a phenomenal job of controlling those interior gaps. So we're proud of him, proud of our group.
Yeah, I was watching some of these college games and those nose tackles. If you get a good one, I mean, they can take up space. It's just there's so many good things they can do. Now let's go to the offense for a little bit and on the Boneyard podcast and think about like you said, maybe the yardage, maybe you felt like you could have more yardage, but what bigger than yardage is the points, and it's cashing in on these opportunities. And I thought the run game was there. Did you know you were going to get this much? I mean, it's hard to say. You had a running quarterback in Mitch Colson for 3 years, and he was going to churn up 150 yards a game. You knew ground game, he was likely gonna do it. This is a more pro style, bigger drop back style quarterback. Were you aware you could maybe count on, and again, it's early in his time, we don't know if it's going to be 85 or 90 yards a game, but did you have a pretty good feel this could happen?
It was not necessarily the plan, but it's worked out in our favor. Tripp's a great athlete. He's different than Mitch Colson was. Mitch was really a running back that could throw the ball really well. So with Mitch, you had, we built things around him in the quarterback run game. We're not doing that specifically with Tripp, but Tripp has been, he's got a really good feel for the pocket, and so when things break down or things don't look like they should, in the secondary, he has the ability to break that pocket and get downfield and get some positive yards for us. We have put in, especially this last week, we have put in some run game for him, and he's proven to us that he's capable of doing, whatever we need to do. And that's anytime your quarterback can run, that's a benefit to the offense. That gives us numbers in the box that a lot of people don't have. So I have one extra person that's kind of alive, and so we will continue to do that with Tripp, but make no mistake about it, Tripp, the plan is going to be for him to read, he's going to read keys downfield and throw the football around. We just have to get, we've got different folks on our team in different spots that are at really different levels of maturation right now. And so we've got to bring them all together. Our offensive line and their pass pro, our receivers, as Shamar Donaldson's hurt and we're moving, Ian had to come in and play a different position. And then some of the looks that people give us are a little bit more difficult than other times. So each week that game plan is going to change a little bit. But I think the one thing that Tripp has shown us is that he's versatile enough to do whatever we need him to do. If we need him to, run a loaded option out the back door in the fourth quarter to get a first down to allow us to kneel the football and win, like he did against Flower Mound. He can do those things for us, and he can also throw the ball downfield and score touchdowns that way. So it's again, talking about confidence in your players and through the coaching staff. I mean, we feel really good about what he gives us.
He had one option play in the second half, and I was watching this on your NFHS, and for folks that are having to travel or whatever, that streaming option is really nice. And then the radio guys, Whitmire's a long time buddy of mine from the Dallas Morning News. You know, they do a really nice job. But I was Keith Whitmire, that is, the option where Tripp was going left, and I was much like the old Lance McElhaney Pony Express. I was kind of looking for that ball to come out of there at the last minute. You remember how they used to do it? Quarterback get blown up, and somehow Dickerson or James would end up with that ball. So it is fun to see the versatility. And like you said, Ian, he doesn't mind working in the middle of the field. And I think whatever he's done in the weight room, you know, that might have even given him more confidence in there. But he kind of, you know, once he gets the ball, he doesn't mind contact. You know, he'll get in there and kind of and dig it out. And so I think guys have stepped up. Do we have to credit Corey, or is that your play? I like the Leland play kind of right up the seam there. I mean, Leland has been a matchup nightmare for people since I started watching him play in 7th and 8th grade, because he's so big, and he was already big back then. But I mean, to hit that one, that was an exciting play.
Yeah, that was good. And we drew it up on the weekend, and we felt like, you know, given the right position on the field and on the right, you know, if we were on the correct hash, that sort of thing, if we got that look, we felt like it was going to be a shot play for us. And so the credit to that has to go to Corey. Coach Campbell dialed that one up. As a matter of fact, funny enough, I've got my headsets off and I'm talking to an official about something, and I turn around and the ball's already been snapped. I put my headsets back on and I see the ball going down the field. So I would love to take credit for it, but I was unfortunately checked out trying to get a call with an official at that time. So Corey and those offensive coaches did a great job. Kids executed it well. Leland, Germany, you know, he's wide open, and that's sometimes the most scary thing to do. I was talking to Tripp in pregame. You know, Tripp, we're going to call this, and when we do, he's going to be so open, it's going to be shocking. And so whatever you do, Tripp, don't overthrow him. Just don't overthrow him, because a lot of times those quarterbacks will get back there and you see it and it looks so easy and they just put a little too much on it, you know. Anyway, so he puts it right in there, and then Leland, who's got a great skill set, got great hands. You know, he catches, or, you know, the ball hits him in the hands and kind of bounces off his hands, hits him in the chest, and he has to catch it down by his waist as he's running in there. So, you know, it looks easy. It's very difficult to do, especially with those, you know, with the stands full of people and bands playing and all of that. But they did it. You know, good call and great execution by the kids.
Yeah. Speaking of the band, if you watch the NFHS broadcast, the band comes in very strong. I mean, I never thought anybody could you know, outdo Bob on the PA.
Yeah.
But the band, the band came strong. In fact, there was another game. What game was it? Somebody was telling me they were at another game, and it was former Cowboy quarterback John Kitna. Coaches, Burleson or something like that.
Yes.
And they said that Coach Kitna became very concerned about the opposing band.
Yeah.
And that, you know, they were playing when they shouldn't, and he had to get involved in that. There's a lot of things. Now, you got to watch. Corey may start looking to see when you have your headset off to send in certain plays and everything.
Well,
so,
listen, Corey Campbell does an incredible job game planning, watching video, getting tendencies, and he does a good job calling games on Friday night. So I trust him as much as I trust any coach.
Yeah. Well, Coach Pascuzzi, Corey, I mean, you really do have a fun staff, and they're a young, energetic staff. And I know sometimes, you know, when there's a call maybe they don't agree with or whatever, I mean, that's another part of your job. You've got to kind of try to calm everybody else down while you're visiting with the official.
Yeah, no, that is a big job. And you know, and you don't think about that. I don't think I thought about that before I got my first head coaching job. Is just, you know, and our coaches are all competitors, right? I mean, they want to win, and they want every advantage they get. And when they get it, it's typically whoever coaches the position, right? If their kid gets a penalty thrown on them, or doesn't get a flag thrown on them, you know, that coach will go. I mean, they go ballistic. and they're, you know, and rightfully so. They feel like they've seen something. They've coached the kid a certain way, and they don't get a call. But you're exactly right. I've got to, you know, I'm trying to build relationships with these officials. I'm hoping that
for down the line.
I'm hoping that at some point I'll get a call from them. So part of that is keeping the rest of my staff, whom I love. And you mentioned, right, great guys, good coaches, fun. But I got to keep them as far away from officials as I can, so that hopefully in the fourth quarter, you know, we'll get a call that benefits us and helps us out.
Well, I passed along to you before. I wish I could remember who it was, but I ran into a high school official and was having a fun conversation, and I brought you up. And it was immediately, he's one of the good ones. I mean, it was because those guys do take a beating, and I would not want to be a linesman. You know, you're marking things, you're hearing it most from the coaches, you know, all that kind of stuff. And to that point, there was a game in Central Texas, supposed to be where you used to coach in that area, between Marlin and Mart last week, and there was a referee shortage, which I'm sure you've heard about and maybe even had to deal with a little bit. And they had to move a game at the last minute, big rivalry game, up to Thursday because they weren't going to have officials ready to go Friday. So we joke about it a little bit, but for reasons of maybe pay, and also I don't think people just love being hollered at constantly. We have a referee shortage right now.
We do, and it's a real concern. And so you think about, okay, you know, how do you treat officials, because it needs to be, I mean, their work environment, and you can, I couldn't do it. You know, whether you're a linesman or those are things that, you know, it would be difficult for me to enjoy my job out there with somebody yelling at you every play. And right now, guys, I'm telling you, it's tough. It does not surprise me that the Marlin game got moved, and you know, it flows over into, you know, basketball and soccer and everything else. There's just, you know, there's worker shortages, it seems like, in every industry. You know, there's more jobs than there are people. Well, it's affecting us. I mean, it's hard for me to hire coaches right now, but the officials, that's such a big, because if we don't have them, we're gonna cancel games, or we're gonna have to start playing on Wednesdays or playing on Thursdays, you know, moving things around. And we have been very fortunate. The DFOA is a strong organization. The Officials Association here in Dallas, strong organization. We have some good officials in it, but we need to figure out a way to bring more people into that profession. And you know, so I'm trying to find good young coaches, you know, players that leave here that I would love to go. I was talking to my own son about it the other day. You know, go get your degree and let's funnel you into education. It's a great business to be in. Coaching, you know, you get to do something you're passionate about, and when that's your job, it's pretty fun. You know, my office is Wildcat Ram Stadium on Friday night, and that's fun. But it takes you a while to get there, and so these young guys, you can go make more money doing something else. There's so many virtual options. So we're seeing that in coaching, and we're seeing it with the officials as well. So anyway, if there's anybody out there listening and you want to get involved in high school athletics, officiating is a great way to do it. And you're right. It's a good lesson. The more respectful we can be toward people, the more I think people will get involved in it. And it's a competitive environment for sure. We have our Unsung Hero Award of the week. But first, a quick word on Eagle Cleanup, our presenting sponsor. Mike Black and his crew do an incredible job cleaning up work sites. If you've got house sites, so much building going on right now, love what they do. Eagle Cleanup, huge supporter of the Boneyard podcast as well as Wildcat athletics in general. Coach, it is time for our Unsung Award winner of the week, and boy, this was very popular. People were excited. I believe we started out with Mr. Keaton as our first Unsung Award winner. Who is our Unsung Award winner? And by the way, this is something we recognize, somebody that, whether they're a player, just involved with the program, maybe they're not always in the spotlight, but they just do an incredible job week in, week out. We try to honor them on a weekly basis. Who do we have this week? So this week we're going to talk about Will Chronister. Will is, this will be his fourth year in our program, plays linebacker. just an unbelievable kid. Makes great grades. He is uber involved in Lake Highlands. So Will is he's really a talented fine arts kid. He's in Esprit. I think he's been in Esprit 2 years. He's in the choir. He does. He's in our theater productions, and then he also plays football. So you think about balancing, fine arts and football, and Will's done such a great job with that. I've known Will since junior high now, and gotten to know his parents pretty well. The great family, and we're just so, and we talked about Colin last week. Having kids like this in our program makes us better every day. And we want more Will Chronisters. We want more Colin Keatons. I want them around me. I want them around our coaches, and I want them around our kids here. So, Will Chronister, congratulations, and thank you for being a Wildcat football player.
We'll do that every week. Will Chronister, I love it. And I think last year's production was Singing in the Rain. And you mentioned Esprit. I happen to be married to someone. I'm still married. I don't know how I had phrased that in a weird way. Member of Esprit back in the day, and so I've loved watching their productions over the years. And that's versatility. When you can go get up on that stage and then go play football and be out there and be a part of it. It's amazing thing about Lake Highlands is whether it be the Wranglers, cheerleading, volleyball, people have a lot of versatility, and they love some of these extracurricular activities, and so that's exciting. I love doing that, and congratulations to Will Chronister, our unsung award winner. And I got to look it up. I heard this recently, the production coming up this year, and because I think tryouts and all that will be coming up, but we'll have to feature. I know you're a big fine arts guy. Were you ever in a production, Coach?
I was not, but funny enough, I am now a fine arts dad. My daughter is in choir. My daughter just made Esprit, so
nice.
Not only, and I've been kind of joking with some, people come up and they say, "Coach, you're doing a podcast?" I said, "Well, Matt's doing a podcast. I just get to be on it." But so now I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
And I'm an Esprit dad. So this is all going to be new to me. We've been going to Esprit meetings and trying to figure that out, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, now you have to, have a glossy or something. Have you seen those? You'll need to do that. But always fun to do our unsung award winner. It is the Boneyard Podcast, and we appreciate everybody who's been listening to us, subscribing. You can subscribe on Apple or Spotify, and Wildcat Club has done a great job for us. And you get insight when you listen, like Coach taking off his headset and then the big shot play coming in. That's the stuff people love, Coach Jordan, getting to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff from Friday nights, and that's one of the reasons we love doing the Boneyard Podcast. Okay, let's talk about it. It is Highland Park week, and that's going to become a staple because they are in the district now, and of course when realignment came out, that's what everybody pointed to. And I would think, Coach, that it's that's an interesting thing, because you have to acknowledge that it's an exciting thing. It's two proud communities. There have been people that grew up in Lake Highlands that live over there now. People that grew up in Highland Park have moved over to our side of town. So it does mean something, and it is exciting, but you also have to balance that with it's a district game. It's one district game. How do you kind of acknowledge the excitement that the fan bases have, and the kids, I'm sure, are hearing as they walk the halls with, and of course they hadn't started walking the halls because we're taping this on Labor Day, but how do you balance all that? Because this is going to be a fun one.
Well, I think you said it. It's a game like any other game. It's just going to be on a big stage, and we talked to him about it today. This game at Highlander Stadium on Friday night will be the best show in town. There's not any place that anybody can go that won't be more exciting than where we're going to be, and really, isn't that why we all got into it? These kids have been dreaming of playing football on a big stage their entire lives. When you start to play, whether that's flag football or SVAA, when you start playing, you visualize what you're going to be like, when you're 18 years old. Where am I going to be playing? Am I going to be the star? Am I, and when you do that, you picture yourself in these, the lights are on, you're in a nice stadium and it's full of people. And that's exactly what Friday night's going to be. They've got Matthew Stafford's going to be retiring his jersey. Randy Allen, if he wins the game, he's going to be, I think, the second all-time winningest coach ever. And so they've got a lot of things going on over there, that they're excited about that are really outside of the football game, right? We're just going over there to try to win our first district ball game. But that's a piece of it as well. So talking to the kids today, we finished our first season and talking to them about that really starts in, in spring football and through the summer. And then you've got your scrimmage and you've got your 2 non-district games. Well, that's over. And it was very successful. What we did in that first season was really good. Well, this is now, Highland Park, everything that we do from this point on counts towards playoffs, which is where we're eventually, wanting to go. And so right now, I think, Highland Park and Lake Highlands are the 2 top teams in the district. We're both coming into this undefeated. It does have implications on a district championship, and so I want our kids to understand that, right? Just what all is going into this game. Mm-hmm. But I also, one of the things we talked to them about is that, hey, this is still about us. I mean, it's early, and it's still about us, and we're going to go compete, and we're going to go, we're going to find a way to make sure that we have we're going to have an opportunity to win this game. Whether it be in the fourth quarter or the second quarter. I mean, we're gonna do what we need to do to put ourselves in a position to get the win. But ultimately, it's really about us getting better. So we're going to take the lessons that we learned last week, the lessons that we learned against Poteet. We're going to work on those things, and it's still, it's going to come down to blocking and tackling and execution on Friday. So we're excited about that. I don't know. I know these 2 communities sit pretty close together. I know there is a history there. Sam Hutton, our outside linebacker and 2-year captain for us. Sam, man, he's a great kid. He's a great football player. I coached his 2 older brothers here. We had Will last year. We had Jack. I think he was a 2020 graduate. Well, Mom, Kathy Hutton, is our parent advisor. So she is our liaison from the Wildcat Club, and she pretty much, she takes care of feeding our kids. She helps with the fundraising. She's up here all the time. She's kind of like a team mom for football. Well, she's a Highland Park graduate, and so this is fun. As you have some of your, some of our kids' parents who grew up over there and wore all the Scotty stuff, and now they're diehard Lake Highlands fans just pouring themselves into it. So I know there's a lot more stories like that, but it's interesting to me as we enter this week, just hearing that from our kids.
Yeah, and Kathy has been listening to the podcast and helping us with some of this. So Kathy, if you are listening, if you start hearing the old fight song, I hope she doesn't reflexively do whatever the Highland Park people do, but that'll be, it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. Now, I'll handle a little of the historical. You clean this up if you hear me say something wrong. I remember, I've gotten to know Randy Allen over the years, and obviously he's had a great run. He tried to retire, and I think that lasted about 3 or 4 months. He decided to come back and has had a great run at Highland Park. Followed years ago Gordon Wood, one of the all-time great high school coaches in the country, from Brownwood, Texas, and at one point won the most games in the nation. And G.A. Moore passed him at some point on that. But it was Randy Allen who had to follow Gordon Wood at Brownwood, and then and I think he had a background in Abilene and other places. But he also, if you're going to a Highland Park game for the first time in a long time, Randy, to honor Tom Landry, wears a fedora. So that's always interesting to look over there and see the opposing coach in a fedora. But I remember even as a young writer for the Morning News, when the spread offense was just starting to take off, and it was Randy Allen versus Sam Harrell at Ennis. And Sam played for Gordon Wood at Brownwood, and so there were all sorts of tie-ins. But both of those coaches had a major impact on sort of, again, they didn't come up with a spread, but they both did it really, really well. What is this, when this you know, Highland Park has been doing it for so long, are they mixing in a lot of run with it just in the early games this season? And they've got a quarterback who's prolific right now, and I think threw for, you know, 260 yards and about 4 touchdowns the other night. What is this Highland Park team looking like so far?
They're going to be balanced. I mean, they run the ball real well, and they have a lot of, you know, from a scheme standpoint. And I've played Highland Park in the past, and you know, really the MO when you go to play Highland Park, you know, they're just going to be really good at what they do. They're going to have, you know, their kids are good athletes. They, you know, usually their lines are real big. Their receivers are tall and athletic and run well, and they don't make many mistakes. And so that's typically a Highland Park team. They fight hard. They expect to win. So you know, and they do. They win a lot. And credit to the community and credit to Randy Allen and those guys. But we're watching them on video, and they have more scheme than we had thought they would. Just from, you know, some influence things. Anyway, not to get into the weeds on that, but they do have quite a bit of scheme. But they will run the football, and they run it very well. You know, they've got a talented group of receivers, and they'll throw the ball around. So I would expect a balanced attack from them on Friday night. And then defensively, it'll be by far the best defense that we've seen this year. I mean, they're solid. They're big and athletic up front. Their linebackers run like cornerbacks, and they're physical kids. I think they had a young man, number 9. I forget his name, but he's a cornerback for him, and he might be as good a corner as we'll see all year. I don't. He was one of the Dallas Morning News finalists for Player of the Week, but he's a really good player. So, you know, and they don't make mistakes. You're not going to be able to get them out of position. You're just going to have to make plays, you know, against them. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, all those ghosts from the past at Highland Park, you know, going back to Doak Walker or whoever, Bobby Lang. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But the great thing is, your guys don't, you know really any of that, and weren't. I mean, if you think about it, when Stafford was even playing there, these kids were what, 5 years old, maybe 4 or 5 years old, or were they even born? I mean, he's been in the league.
I remember watching
for a long time now. But I mean, these guys, So
I remember watching Highland Park. I believe it was Highland Park when Stafford was there. They were playing South Lake Carroll. Unbelievable game.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the year. So I don't know if these guys were around or not, but you're exactly right. They don't know the tradition like our parents know the tradition.
Yeah.
You know, they just know it's a really good football team, and it's the first game of district, and they need to win.
Yeah.
So,
and let's encourage our listeners and Lake Highlands alums and fans to get there early. I could see there being a bit of traffic getting into this one. It's going to be a packed stadium. This is going to be a sellout. So, you know, this hanging out to Mikosina till about 15 till kickoff, you can't do. You got to get over there, and you got to be in position and get into the stadium.
No, and there were some ticket issues with this game as well, and I don't know how all that came about, but there were some ticket issues. Typically, when we play, when we are an away team, we will buy tickets through their online system. Well, something happened over there with their online system, and so they are sending us tickets, and tickets will go on sale tomorrow here at Lake Highlands. It will be cash only, and we're still working out some of the details. Bryn Volkmer, who is our administrative assistant, will be basically, she'll be taking the money, and then we'll be emailing however many tickets it is that you purchase. But the tickets go on sale, so that's Tuesday and Wednesday, and they go on sale to parents only. Okay, so parents only Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday we're going to open it up to the student body and the public. But parents will get the first dibs. They've got 2 days to get that done, and we'll be pushing out information through the Wildcat Club, Twitter, Facebook, all of that.
All right.
Probably later today.
I'm going to slip you some cash right now Frito, do you have any cash on you? I need
Okay, so with that, if you've already purchased a ticket from Highland Park, that ticket is valid.
It is, okay.
It is, but they had to shut it down over there. And again, I don't know the details of it, but if you're a Lake Highlands person, you've already purchased a ticket, that ticket is valid on the visitor side.
It is, yeah.
And so it's just for folks that don't have tickets yet. You'll be buying them here.
Yeah. You won't provide the details. I can kind of guess the details of how all this happened, but because of course it is the Stafford and Jersey retirement, honoring him, all of that. I'm sure they're trying to get as many people in there as possible, but we need to, Lake Highlands has great fans, and need to get over there.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And
well, we want to do our part and remind those folks at Highland Park that there is a football game there that night.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So get there early. Find a seat because there's a good chance it's standing room only, and then cheer these Wildcats on to victory. Yeah,
I like it. I'm very excited about it. It is the Boneyard podcast, and Coach, it's been a lot of fun, and 2-0, and this is going to be tremendous, and very excited about it. And just so you know, personal story. I mean, never to make it about me, of course. But to your point about the biggest game in town, I was asked, would I like to make the trip to Provo to watch Baylor and BYU in person? That's a ranked game, 2 ranked teams. And I said, no, I've got a big game Friday night that I have to attend. So
how about that?
I'm going to remain behind and be at Friday's game instead of going to the mountains. Okay,
man, I love it.
Okay,
I love it, Matt. Yeah, thank you.
Share that personal thing with you there. Yeah. Okay, it is the Boneyard podcast. Subscribe anywhere you get a podcast: Spotify, Apple, and then Lake Highlands Wildcat Club. The website, it's up there. Facebook, and I think Whitmire was giving us some plugs the other night on our Champion broadcast.
Champion Sports Radio.
Yeah.
If you'll go to Champion Sports Radio, they have they broadcast all of our games, and then I think through their website they link up with NFHS.
Yeah.
Now, NFHS, you have to have a subscription, but you can link it up through their broadcast, and everything syncs pretty well.
And if you just want to listen to the band, just go through NFHS. That's what I did this past week, and was able to hear some great music. By the way, they're doing that's a good group over there.
Reagan Brumley is, I think this is his 2nd year as our band director, and he has done an incredible job. I mean, the kids are having fun. They're the music they play is it's as good as anybody. So we're proud of our band and proud of what they do.
All right, there he is, Coach Lonnie Jordan, as Wildcats prepare to go over and take on the Scots at Highland Park. I want to call it Scotland Yard, but that's their baseball. What is there? Is it Highlander? Is it Highland?
Highlander Stadium, I believe.
Okay, Highlander Stadium, which will be taken over by Wildcat fans if we can figure out the website situation over there. All right, been great to be with you. Boneyard podcast, sign up, and we will see you next week and react to this game and get ready for the 4th game of the season. Thank you.